The bakery air is thick with the scent of warm bread, sweet rolls, and fresh butter. To most, it's comforting; to her, it's torture. Every inhale reminds her stomach of its emptiness. Every shelf lined with golden loaves feels like a cruel display of what she cannot afford. She stands at the counter with a small boy pressed close to her side, his thin fingers gripping the hem of her worn coat. In her palm, only 3 coins, cold metal, the last pieces of money she has managed to keep after days of scraping by. She rubs them with her thumb as if the friction might somehow turn them into more. It doesn't. The boy tugs at her hand, his eyes locked on the baskets of bread behind the glass. "Mama," he whispers, barely audible. His voice carries hunger, a pleading tone that no child should ever have to use for food. She leans down, forcing a small smile, though her lips tremble. "Just 1 loaf today, my love. It will be enough." She steps forward. The cashier looks up, polite but distracted, moving with the efficiency of someone who has seen hundreds of faces this morning. When her eyes fall on the 3 small coins placed on the counter, something in her expression changes. A flicker of pity, quickly masked by professionalism. Still, her hesitation is obvious. She glances at the line forming behind, people shifting uncomfortably, some staring, others pretending not to notice. The woman straightens her shoulders, fighting the heat rising in her cheeks. Pride keeps her spine rigid. She will not look away. She will not beg. 1 small loaf, she says, her voice firmer than she feels. The cashier hesitates. She moves slowly, almost reluctantly, toward the basket. The clink of the coins on the counter seems louder than it should, echoing in the silence around her. A man coughs somewhere in the line. A child sighs impatiently. Every second stretches. The boy presses closer, his gaze fixed on the bread now being wrapped. His stomach growls audibly, and the sound slices through the quiet like a knife. His mother hears it too. She winces inside, but keeps her face composed, her hand tightening protectively on his shoulder. Her mind races. This loaf will not last more than a day, maybe 2, if she stretches it carefully. But there is no money for tomorrow, no clear answer for how to face the hunger that will follow. The thought claws at her, heavy and merciless. The cashier returns, the loaf wrapped in thin paper. Her eyes linger on the woman's coins again, then flicker back up. That silent moment feels heavier than words. The line behind shifts restlessly, murmurs rising, the tension swelling. The mother reaches out with a steady hand, determined not to let it tremble. The air shifts before the words even come. A voice, deep and steady, slices through the unease that has settled over the bakery line. "Add 3 more loaves, and some milk. I'll handle it." Every head turns. The mother freezes, her hand suspended above the wrapped loaf, fingers brushing the paper but not grasping it. Her pulse jolts. She doesn't look at the source right away. Instead, her mind spins, confusion crashing against the walls of her pride. The cashier blinks, caught off guard. Her eyes dart from the mother to the man behind, unsure how to proceed. The line stills completely. For a second, the quiet is absolute, as if the world itself leans in to hear. Slowly, carefully, the mother turns. The man behind her does not resemble the other weary customers. He doesn't fidget, doesn't shuffle, doesn't carry the look of someone rushing through an errand. His presence is deliberate, controlled. A navy suit tailored to perfection hugs his frame, the faint gleam of a silver watch catching the light as he adjusts his sleeve. His shoes, polished to a mirror shine, stand out starkly against the scuffed tiles of the bakery floor. But it isn't the clothes that unnerve her. It's the way he looks at her. Not pity, not arrogance, but something she can't quite name. His eyes are steady, dark, assessing, as if he's been waiting, watching, searching for this exact encounter. Her throat tightens, she shakes her head quickly, her words stumbling out, "No, please, that won't be necessary. We don't accept charity." Her voice, though firm, carries a tremor. The boy beside her glances up, confused by his mother's refusal, his innocent eyes caught between hunger and hesitation. The man doesn't argue. He doesn't even look at her. Instead, he steps forward slightly, placing a black card on the counter with practiced precision. His voice is calm, but carries a weight that brooks no disagreement. She'll accept, put it all on me. The cashier stiffens, torn between conflicting instructions. Her fingers hover above the register. The coins still lie on the counter, dull and small against the gleaming card beside them. A contrast so sharp it almost hurts to look at. The mother's cheeks burn. Heat creeps up her neck, the sharp sting of humiliation mixing with disbelief. Why is this man interfering? Why does he care what she can or cannot buy? The crowded silence presses against her, the invisible eyes of strangers digging into her skin. The boy stares at the man now, his lips parted slightly, a spark of hope flickering across his face. His small hand tightens around his mother's coat, tugging gently as though urging her not to turn away. She feels it, every tug like a question she cannot answer. The man still hasn't broken his gaze. His stance remains unshaken, like someone accustomed to command, someone used to being obeyed. There's no sign he'll back down, no flicker of doubt in his expression, no crack in his composure. The mother swallows hard, her body rigid, her mind torn between pride and the gnawing truth that her son's empty stomach is louder than her protests. The boy's wide eyes glimmer with silent hope, but his mother's gaze sharpens, suspicious, wary. Her body angles protectively in front of him, her shoulders stiffening like a barrier. She doesn't trust the ease in the stranger's voice, the calm certainty with which he dismissed her refusal. Why? The word slips from her mouth, harsher than she intended. Her tone is brittle, defensive, but she can't help it. No one does this, not here, not for her. The man doesn't flinch. His attention stays locked on her, unwavering, as if he expected the question. His silence is deliberate, not awkward, and that unsettles her more than any explanation could. Her pulse beats harder, each thud echoing in her ears. She scans his polished shoes, his immaculate suit, the subtle cologne that seems far too refined for the cramped bakery filled with cheap pastries and impatient customers. Everything about him screams wealth, influence, authority. Men like him don't buy bread in neighborhoods like this. Men like him don't even stand in lines. The cashier clears her throat softly, caught between their quiet standoff. Her fingers hover over the register keys, hesitating, waiting. The customers in line shuffle, murmurs starting to ripple, but no one dares interrupt. The mother's jaw tightens. She whispers again, this time more firmly, I said no. But even as the words leave her lips, her voice falters. Her son tugs at her coat again, his small voice barely audible. Mama, please. The sound twists deep inside her, cutting into the pride she clings to. Her eyes dart back to the stranger. Something in his expression unnerves her. It isn't pity. There's no smugness, no satisfaction in being the hero in front of strangers. His stare feels different, intentional, heavy, like he knows her, or at least knows something about her. A flicker of unease sparks in her chest. She can't shake the thought, what does he want in return? People don't just hand over kindness for nothing. Not in her world. There's always a price, even if it's hidden. The boy's fingers curl tighter into her coat. She feels his hunger, his longing, his trust pressing against her resistance. Her heart pounds faster, trapped between the urge to protect her pride and the fear of what accepting help from a man like this could mean. The stranger leans slightly closer, not enough to threaten, but enough that his presence seems to draw the air around them. He doesn't blink, doesn't look away. His voice is low, steady, carved with certainty. She'll accept. The cashier glances nervously at the mother, then at the sleek card lying on the counter. The dull clink of the 3 coins still lingers between them, insignificant beside the glossy rectangle. A silent battle stretches out, a standoff between her stubborn refusal and the man's unshakable insistence. Her lips part as if to argue again, but the words won't come. Something in his gaze halts her, something unreadable, something that suggests he isn't offering out of impulse, but from a place far deeper, far older. The bakery feels smaller now, the walls pressing closer, the line behind holding its collective breath. The boy's grip on her coat tightens once more as her eyes lock onto the stranger's, searching for a motive that refuses to reveal itself. The silence stretches until it feels unbearable. The cashier's hand hovers in midair, the boy's hungry eyes cling to the wrapped loaf, and the mother stands caught between refusing again and surrendering. Then, without warning, her voice breaks the stillness, sharp, demanding, "Why are you doing this?" The words come out louder than she intends. Heads in the line lift, a man coughs uncomfortably, but her focus stays locked on the stranger in the navy suit. She waits for his smirk, for his condescension, for the typical rehearsed speech of someone who wants to feel like a savior. None of it comes. Instead, his expression shifts, not dramatically, just enough. The faint set of his jaw eases, his eyes soften by the smallest fraction, and his voice, when it arrives, is steady but laced with weight. "Because years ago," he says quietly, "your husband saved my life." The mother blinks. For a moment, the sound of the bakery fades, swallowed by the rush of blood in her ears. The words land heavy, disorienting. She doesn't move, doesn't breathe. Her son tugs at her hand again, confused. "Mama." She swallows hard, her throat suddenly dry, her chest tightening with something more painful than hunger. Nobody says that name anymore. Nobody brings him up, not here, not in the ordinary rhythm of buying bread, but this stranger just did. Her eyes narrow, searching his face for a lie, for a mistake. Her husband has been gone for months, leaving behind only memories too sharp to touch and debts too deep to escape. And yet this man, this polished, powerful stranger, stands here, speaking of him as if their lives once intersected. The boy looks up curiously, catching the tension but not the meaning. His wide eyes dart from his mother to the man, waiting, sensing something enormous but unspoken. The stranger doesn't flinch under her stare. His tone doesn't change, doesn't waver. "He pulled me out." He continues, his words deliberate, almost reverent. "There was smoke, fire. I would not have walked away from that day without him." Images flash unbidden in her mind. Her husband's uniform, the long nights waiting for him to return. The moment the officials stood at her door with their solemn faces and rehearsed condolences. The sharp ache in her chest threatens to crush her. She forces herself to speak, her voice brittle. "You knew him." The man's gaze holds hers with unyielding certainty. "I owe him everything I became after that day." Her knees feel weak. The room seems to tilt. The loaf of bread, the coins, the stares of strangers. Everything around her blurs as the weight of his words coils tight inside her. She grips the counter to steady herself, trying to anchor to something solid. The boy tugs again, his voice small, questioning, "Mama, what's he saying?" The stranger doesn't look at the child. His focus remains on her, as if the boy isn't the one who needs to hear this. His eyes gleam, not with pity, but with memory, with something that looks dangerously close to debt, to unfinished obligation, to promises that were never repaid. The mother's grip on the counter tightens until her knuckles pale. Her breath comes shallow, ragged, as if the stranger's words have stripped the air from her lungs. The bakery hums softly in the background, shuffling feet, the faint rustle of paper bags, but all of it fades behind the pounding in her ears. Her husband's name lingers unspoken between them, a ghost rising in the crowded shop. Her son stares upward, puzzled, eyes flicking between the suited man and the trembling figure of his mother. He doesn't understand the weight of what's being said, only that something extraordinary hangs in the balance. The man shifts slightly, his voice steady, low enough that only she and the boy can hear. "He gave me my life, my future. I built everything I have because of him, and now—" He glances at the loaf of bread, at the coins still lying lifeless on the counter. "It's my turn." Her chest constricts. Pride and survival battle violently within her. She has survived these months by standing tall, by refusing to bow, by believing she could protect her son with only her own strength. but his empty stomach speaks louder than her defiance. The boy leans against her side, his small hand clutching the fabric of her coat, silently pleading. She whispers almost to herself, "I don't want pity." The man's reply comes quick, sharp, leaving no room for misinterpretation. "This isn't pity, it's a debt, one I've carried for years." The words strike her harder than expected. A debt, not charity, not condescension, something different, something that feels like it belongs not just to him but to her husband's memory. Her throat burns. She stares at the 3 coins on the counter, pitiful against the gleaming black card. Her son's reflection blinks back at her from the glass case below, his eyes wide, hungry, trusting. The silence grows heavier. The cashier shifts awkwardly, waiting for direction. Customers fidget, restless, but still no one dares break the tension. She looks back at the stranger. His expression hasn't changed. Calm, resolute, a man accustomed to being obeyed, but carrying something deeper now, something personal. His posture is unwavering, his eyes steady, as if he knows the war raging inside her chest and is determined to wait it out. Her lips part, then close again. She can't form the words. To accept is to surrender pride, to admit she can't do it alone. To refuse is to punish her son, to watch him leave hungry once more. The thought carves into her like a knife. The boy tugs at her sleeve, voice trembling with a hope he dares not speak too loudly. "Mama, please." Her heart twists violently. She feels the weight of his need pressing into her decision, heavier than her pride, heavier than the eyes of strangers. The air around them thickens, pressing down, demanding an answer. Her gaze locks on the stranger's once more, caught between the impossible choice of holding her ground or opening the door to something she doesn't yet understand. The boy's whisper lingers in the air, fragile, urgent, impossible to ignore. The mother's chest rises and falls quickly, her pulse racing, her pride caught in a vise. Every instinct screams to protect her dignity, yet the stranger's words weigh heavier than her resistance. She looks at her son's face. His cheeks are pale, his eyes ringed with tired shadows, but his gaze glows with something she hasn't seen in weeks, hope. That tiny flicker tilts the balance. Her hand trembles as she lowers the coins from the counter. She doesn't speak, doesn't officially surrender, but her silence gives the answer. The cashier exhales softly, as if released from a spell. She sweeps the coins back toward the mother, her hands moving quickly to ring up the stranger's order. Loaves of bread stack into a bag, followed by milk, fruit, eggs items the mother hasn't bought in months. Each item feels like both a gift and a blow, reminding her of how far she's fallen, yet how much her son needs. The boy's small arms tighten around the bag the moment it's handed over, as if afraid it might vanish. His smile bursts wide, innocent and unguarded, and for the first time in weeks, joy touches his face. The mother's throat constricts. She whispers, almost broken, "I don't know how to repay this." The stranger tilts his head, his expression unreadable. "You already have." Confusion flickers across her face. He pulls a small card from his wallet, a simple rectangle with his name embossed in sharp silver letters. He holds it out, steady. "Come see me tomorrow. There's a place for you at my company, a role suited to someone with your determination." The mother stares, stunned. A job, not charity, not a temporary gesture, but an opportunity. Something solid, something that could rebuild what she lost. Her son looks up at her, his smile faltering with uncertainty. "Mama, what does it mean?" Her lips part, but no words come. She takes the card with trembling fingers, her eyes fixed on the man. His gaze holds steady, calm, but beneath it lies something more, a quiet reverence, a vow unspoken, a promise to honor the debt he believes he owes. The bakery buzzes again as customers shuffle forward. Relieved the tension has lifted, but for her, the world feels entirely different. She clutches the bag of food close, her son's hand wrapped tightly in hers, and the card burning like fire against her palm. For the first time since her husband's death, the crushing weight on her chest eases. She doesn't know what tomorrow will bring, but she knows this moment is no accident. This man, this encounter, this chance, it feels like the turning of a page she didn't know she had left. The boy skips a little as they step outside, his laughter light carrying into the street. She looks down at him, then back at the stranger still standing inside, his gaze following them until the door closes. And as she walks away with her son, food in his arms and a future hidden in her pocket, she knows her lowest moment has just become the beginning of something entirely new.